Okay, here we are, backyard business in my backyard. It's a beautiful day, by the way. Would you agree, Yusuf?
Absolutely.
I want to make sure, so I said it right, Yusuf, right? Yeah, make sure you say someone's name. I'm big on that with a last name like I have. And first of all, thank you for being here. So I went right into it, but I want to make sure, I tell our staff, I'd like to make sure we have people, that we're bringing people from all the facets of the Lehigh Valley, and that people can look up to as role models, because you don't know who they're passing this on to, and how important that is. So first of all, how you liking the Lehigh Valley? You're kind of a reasonably new arrival, right?
Well, I've been in the Lehigh Valley about 8 years or so.
Yeah.
I love the Lehigh Valley. It's been great to me. It's been great for my family. So I'm really appreciative to be here.
And you grew up where?
In Milwaukee.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Wow. Are you Brewers? What Packers. You'd be like,
Packers,
if you're into sports.
Brewers, Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah. Are they still? I love the Milwaukee Bucks. Are they still around? They still.
Milwaukee. Yeah. In fact, they have one of the best basketball players in the league.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Go ahead and say his name. You're important.
Yeah. That guy with yeah. What is it?
The Greek Freak. I don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy name. Yeah. Do you know Kareem Abdul-Jabbar used to be a Milwaukee Buck? You know, when I was a kid, I used to watch him. But anyway, it's an amazing town in Milwaukee. Kind of similar, really. A little bit similar, I would say.
Very much so. Allentown reminds me a lot of Milwaukee, parts of Bethlehem. Yeah, it's very interesting.
So you're doing amazing work. I want to talk about that and what the importance of that is to the valley. So talk about what you're doing and why you're energized, which I know you are, and why it's important to this valley.
Yeah, so I lead an organization called the Century Promise, and our mission, our theory of change is we believe that if we can make real the future benefit of education for high school students, that it'll change their present behavior. And so education has changed, workforce has changed, the world has changed, and this notion that the only pathway to success is a 4-year degree is outdated. And so we have to provide more on-ramps for young people into meaningful careers, and that preparation, that support needs to happen in high school, not after they enroll in a 4-year university.
Oh, I love it. So that's not everyone's path. Look, I'm not a proponent of it. It wasn't my path, and I just happen to be one of the unluckiest person on the planet. But not everyone. And it's funny you say this, because I always say, how can we expect young people of color to feel like this is their country when they can't ever own a piece of it and they can't ascend to that? So is that part of just making sure that they have a lane to success and feel like that? I guess you're in the trenches and talking to young people. Would you say in many cases they don't feel like this is their country, if you will, and this path of success isn't there?
Well,
I mean, access means so much, and not everybody has access.
Well, so there's an expression that I'll often use, which is that talent is equally distributed, but opportunity is not.
I love it.
And so, this notion of access to opportunity is something that's guided a lot of my professional efforts. And, there's challenges to access regardless of race. I mean, it tends to be a socioeconomic thing, but certainly we see those disparities quite a bit, particularly when we're talking about a city like Allentown, where, there are large communities of color.
Yeah, I think for myself, and that's why this is so important, I think someone opened a door for me every place. Now, look, they weren't big doors, but I had an uncle that worked in Mack Truck on my mom's side.
They opened the door just to get you out of the room, huh?
Yeah. No, but we were at a spot where I thought I was going to work for a family business, and that didn't work out so well. So I remember his name, my mom. Go see your uncle Johnny McFadden at Mack Truck, and he got me in. I got a job at Mack Truck, and then I had a relative that was in real estate. I went in the real estate business. So it's about, it's so much about connecting, but not everybody. So I don't mean it's always a major lift up, but it is that little open that door, and that's what I mean about. That's only part of access, but that's what I mean about access. That you don't realize when people say, I did it all on my own. Well, not really.
No one does it on their own. And I think it's critical, right? Not just for our economy, for our community, but because it's the right thing to do. When a young person graduates high school, they should have access to a ladder that will help them achieve their professional goals and prepare them for that success. We can't have folks graduating from high schools trying to scale a chimney, right? Where there's no way to grab a toehold or a handle on how to make it up to the next level. So that's what the Century Promise is all about, and it truly is a community effort, as you know.
When you're trying to tell young people there is an opportunity, there is a path, is it sometimes a hard sell though? I want to get to the reality that, it might be easy for someone to say, oh, again, back to this, oh, I did on my own. No one handed me anything. Well, I don't know about that one, but not so much.
Well, teenage years are difficult years, as you know.
Sure.
And there's a correlation between a young person's level of future focus and how far they are along in high school. So, for example, if you go into a room full of freshmen and you're talking about, these are, post-graduation opportunities, they probably won't even take out their AirPods. But, a lot of our seniors understand that life is facing them, right? It's just a matter of time. After this year, they'll graduate. And I think they are interested in opportunity and interested in investing in themselves to take advantage of that opportunity. The challenge is, though, we don't have a lot of these on-ramps that start your senior year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
By that point, oftentimes it's too late. For example, if you wanted to go take a trade at a technical college,
sure,
that has to be done your sophomore year. Or if you want to, go to a 4-year school and study engineering, you don't wake and roll out of bed as a senior and say you're going to study engineering. That started in 9th grade when you were tracked into calculus. So that's what the Century Promise, that unmet need that we focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really gratifying to see folks take advantage of those opportunities to lift themselves to the next level.
Yeah, I think that's why I have such a passion for that, because I think of myself, I was a terrible student. Really, the bottom 1/10 of my class is what.
You're kidding me, Tony. I don't believe that.
Honest to God, I wasn't in trouble. I just had no idea. I knew I was there to have fun, but
let me guess, you weren't focused.
Yes, bad, very bad. Yes, very. I want to get back to the point that we were talking about my academic failures, but I think again, what I really want people to learn, maybe from people. Well, our stories are different, but that you can get out, you can lift yourself out. And it's not. And what I love about your story is, some people, well, you're doing what you do because you have a degree, a master's, and so on. So not that you don't have that, but you have the old master's in disasters, and it makes you credible.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that our stories aren't that dissimilar. I mean, in certain specifics, for sure. But we all experience adversity, and certainly, I'm no different. But I think what's similar between us and a lot of people that I certainly respect in this community is learning from that adversity and harnessing that to help others. And that's what my work is all about. And I think yours as well.
Yeah, I think I think you're right. I think and I think maybe when you go through that, when you have opportunity, you jump all over it because you know what the other side looks like,
That's the truth.
So what's most so people understand where you're doing most of your work in a specific
in the Allentown School District.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, and the need is there.
Oh, absolutely, and the opportunity is there.
Okay, that's I'm so glad you said that. The need is there and the opportunity is there. And I think that's so important. I think as the demographics, if we use that broad-based term, change in this community, in this country, people have got to feel that the door is open, and again, and maybe the flip side of that is the other side, the traditionals, if you will, have to understand that it's not open. That so the two things that the challenges, and I want you to speak, and I don't want to overspeak this, but the challenge is to get people to believe that the door is open. The other challenge is to get people to believe it's not open for everybody. Most people are so blessed, generational wealth, it's not open for everybody.
That's a really interesting way to frame it, and I think you summarized it really powerfully, because there is opportunity in this greatest country on earth. I mean, you and I are living testaments of the fact that you don't necessarily have to be the brightest or born in the resources to create a great life for yourself and your family. So the opportunity is there. But you do have to be prepared to bust your ass to take advantage of it, right? And one of the things that I'm very sensitive to is that we cannot put people in a position of opportunity that they're not prepared to seize.
Ooh, no.
And so that's what our program is all about, is making sure, yes, these young folks are going to get that shot, but we want to make sure that they can make it.
Yeah, that's a good point. You make me think. So climbing to the top can be so rewarding, but if you get close, I can see a blip, but if it's a deep fall, that's hard to come back from. And that's a really good point. So, we all have that didn't work out, but you keep hammering. But when you go from the top, if it's a deep, deep fall, that's hard recovery.
It is.
And is that kind of that's kind of what I think? I get the feeling you're sort of saying that if we prep them, that they're going to have their blips, but that drop isn't going to be to the bottom.
I mean, certainly. And I think that, it's all incremental and it all builds on itself, right? It takes time. You didn't become who you are overnight. I mean, I know a little bit of your story, and there were those ups and downs. And, but it's interesting when we listen to your story, you went to family and family redirected you here to Mack Truck, and then they redirected you to the real estate business, etc. These networks, right, are really, really important. And so we have to understand a lot of the young folks we serve in the Allentown school districts, they don't have those extensive networks. But folks in the community do want to help them. You recently had Lori Hackett on this program, and I mean, what an amazing connector, right? But and she works with so many organizations that can provide support to these young people, but how do we connect them? How do they get access to all of the opportunities that we have in the Lehigh Valley? And that's where a program like ours comes into play.
Back to the point that we were saying, and that is access doesn't mean someone at the top. It just means a door, opening. It doesn't have to be slammed open. It doesn't have to be at the top. It can just be the beginning. And then people, as you said, ready to grab it and succeed. I think you're an example of that. And I think I guess, first of all, I'm really glad you're here. You're kind of like just fit in I don't know, I'm glad you're here in the Valley.
I'm glad to be here.
And sometimes people come here and you can tell this isn't their kind of place. And humility is a really good thing to have in the Valley.
Absolutely.
And I see with all that you do that you're humble, You're tall.
That's what happens when you come from nothing, Tony. You have an appreciation for all different walks of life. And certainly life has humbled me. And so I think when you've been humbled enough, you understand that everything that you have, everything you achieve, it's not because of your individual effort. It's because other folks have believed in you.
Where do you go when that person, I think of myself, I have very mercurial, I'm not saying you're in that club, self-confidence, very mercurial. But when you have those doubts, where do you go? Where do you, because you built yourself up. What got you there? Who'd you reach out to, or where do you go?
Well, when I find myself down, and I have a teenage daughter, so I find myself down quite a bit these days, but I always go back to the fact that, I'm still standing, I still have my health, and I still have a puncher's chance to turn things around. And, when you've fallen down and you've gotten up before it's possible.
Yeah.
And it's really just about staying the course. And so, when I work a lot with young people, it's getting them to understand that success and excellence is only achieved through sustained effort. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And so I'm just committed every day to waking up with a spirit of gratefulness and a commitment to working as hard as I can.
Yeah, you made me think, I've had 2 times in my life where I think, if I got through that, anything else, that's a piece of cake.
That's exactly right.
A total piece of cake. So have you had times you think, am I going to come out of this?
Well, I told you I have a teenage daughter, so every day you wake up and you wonder. But, in the work that I do right now, I'm very fortunate to have the support of great community leaders. And in the Lehigh Valley, we truly have the best, right? And I've lived in other communities, but I don't know of another place that I've been fortunate enough to call home, that I've met people who have achieved such high levels of success, but care so much about communities that are typically described as disadvantaged.
Yeah. Well, that's what you're doing. I'm thankful you're doing it. As I said, you're a great personality for the Lehigh Valley, and thanks for what you do, and keep it up. And there's an example. And Yusuf, if people want to reach out to you, you're cool. Tell them where they can find you, because if a young person wants to talk to you, I want them to be able to find you.
Well, I'm not hard to find, that's for sure. I'm on all the social media platforms. You can go to our website, centurypromise.org. My contact information is on that website. And I would encourage anyone to reach out to me if you think there's anything I can do for you personally, professionally. If there's any interest you have in getting involved in our organization at the Century Promise and supporting young people, please reach out. I love meeting new people in the Lehigh Valley, which is why I'm so thrilled to be involved with the chamber.
Yeah, and I took like the old guy approach. I'm like, so are you in the yellow pages?
Can they my phone number? Should I give my cell phone number?
Can you find a phone book? I'll give you mine, 610-739-1513. Thanks so much for being with us. Backyard Business, thank you for all the work you're doing. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Ellie. Lori Hackett, thanks for visiting. We appreciate that. And we'll see you in the next episode.